All right, so here's where we're at, what we've done so far. So I'm just watching what we're doing going into the last hour. So I probably won't be doing too much talking until I see something that's worth mentioning. If you're satisfied with, this is the part that was the teaching that's done now. So if you want to come back and watch this part at a later time, you're welcome to do that. I'm not going to call trades or anything like that. I just want to do an observation with you live. Main takeaway today is everything I'm teaching you, it's repeating. The things that should form when they should form, they're forming. And when they are formed in price action, price is respecting them in a manner that allows and affords you opportunity to engage it. It's a tradable setup. It's a tradable framework for market structure. I'm just going to minimize this one so we can have both the seconds chart, 15-second chart, and the 1 minute. All right, so we are inside the 250 algorithm. It runs till 10 minutes after 3. See the volume imbalance in here? If you have the ability to pull up 15-second charts, these are things you want to look at. This price run here to this. We have a small little inefficiency here. Things like this, you want to screenshot it, and you can go back through the price runs. These types of runs happen all day long. They're there a lot. So this little gap right here, formed by this candle's high, and that candle's low, right here in the left-hand side chart, right there. That candlestick right there. There's your imbalance, and here is your low of the candle that forms the low of the fair value gap. It's a SIBI because it's a down closed candle. The price run in here, there's several things you want to take a look at. From the 1 minute chart, you can see how and this is how, Caleb, you're going to identify things that repeat over and over again, and it trains your eye to see things that will repeat, and your eye will see it in real time, and you'll know that it's likely to behave a certain way because you've seen enough examples of it. Okay, so you have an order block. It rallies above. As soon as it crosses this candlestick's opening price there, that's the change in the state of delivery. Over on a 15-second chart, how far into this decline can it go in this candle when it was dropping on this 1 minute and this 1 minute candle? How far into this can it go? Well, you don't want it to go past the halfway point because mean threshold is the most sensitive price point and to its high. In this case, it's the opening price. So that's where it's going to be most sensitive to. If you're seeing it drop down into that and below that level here on a 15-second chart, isn't that pretty? That volume imbalance right there, you see that? See that right there? And the market trades down to it right there. It does its work there on the 15-second chart. So the algorithm sees this here. It drops back down to a discount relative to this delivery and price. Then over here, it's cycling through the lower time frames, and wherever there's any inefficiency, that means a gap, fair value gap, or volume imbalance. In this case, there is no fair value gap here. There is no swing low because that's already happened here. So stops were taken there. So this delivery went below that low. Then we rallied. This little inefficiency there, that volume imbalance, is all that the algorithm needs to do on the 15-second chart before it starts to rally. Inefficiency here. So on this run there at 250, when the algorithm starts, right there, this creates an inefficiency. Buy side imbalance, sell side inefficiency. If it's starting at the beginning of the macro at 250, and it's wanting to go higher and run for this inefficiency here on a 1 minute chart, because now we're running higher. It's looking for inefficiencies that are premium relative to where we are at here. Where's the buy side? Here. And then what happens if it goes above that? That's the inefficiency. And we can go back to Tuesday's old daily low. But you just don't want to go in here and say, oh, it's just going to go to Tuesday's daily low and just that's it. That's not properly managing the range that you're dealing in. This high down to that low is the dealing range. So when you look at what price has done here, this on a 15-second chart will act as a breakaway gap. And you want to see things like this, institutional order flow entry drill, where it just goes into that gap formed by this candle's high. Every time I do it, see? Every time. There you go. So institutional order flow entry drill is where it just goes inside and leaves the maximum amount of the range open. And when it starts to run like that, that tells you you have a breakaway gap. And that starts at the beginning of the macro at 250. See? Right there. See the time? 250 on the dot. And it rallies up. Trades into the low of this inefficiency here. Hits it, stops dead in its tracks, drops back down, consolidates, and what's it doing? It's accumulating before it does what? Rallies to a deeper premium, which is consequent encroachment of this inefficiency. Does it stop? Does it respect it? Just stop short of it, opens slightly higher, comes right back down, touches that right there, volume imbalance. Rallies and goes to the high end of this inefficiency. Does it respect the high of it? No, it goes right on through it. Opens, trades down to the high of that inefficiency. So now what is it acting as here? This gap is a target to draw price up into it. And now when we're above it, how should it behave? Let's assume for a moment that you think it's going to go to this gap right here. Or do you think it's going to trade back to Tuesday's daily low? If that's the case, and this is your term, let's say this is your term